Hello viewers, my name is Siddhesh. I'm a co-founder of Startupmitra. In this podcast, I'm going to discuss with Ms. Akanksha Sharma, who is a founding member and the CEO of CITTA World. CITTA World is a baby care product company based out in Pune, and they started their journey in 2019 and now one of the prominent players in the segment. So they manufacture product or a skincare product based on or using natural ingredients, and they're growing at a rapid speed. So in this podcast, we are going to discuss with Akanksha Sharma about her journey as an entrepreneur and her perspective about the market and her perspective about using the product. So, viewers, I welcome you again to listen from Ms. Akanksha Sharma. Before you go and listen, I request you to please subscribe to this channel and like this video. And after watching the video, please share your feedback in the comment section. Thank you. Hello, Akanksha Sharma. Thank you for accepting our request and joining for this podcast. First of all, I would like to know what is this Sita world actually? If you can explain what is this Sita world to our viewers, that would be very helpful.
Sure. So basically, Sita is a premium baby skincare line. We have 5 SKUs at the moment. And our whole idea behind the brand was that we wanted it to be inspired by traditional ingredients, that we have been using in childcare for ages in India, like coconut or turmeric. These are all ingredients that we say that our Dadi Nani used. So we have taken inspiration from the Dadi Nani Ke Nuskhe, and then we have revamped them and given a more innovative edge to them and created them for like a modern day mother or a father. So like there's a little bit of innovation to each of our products so that the parent can use it more conveniently, because like today life is very busy for them. So even though they know that there are benefits to certain ingredients like the ones that I mentioned, they don't always have the time to go in the kitchen and make it. It's very hectic for, especially for new parents. So we wanted to make a more convenient option for them. So which is why like our massage oil, it has 12 natural oils and it has vitamin E. Yeah, so you don't have to like mix any of them. Like that's already been done for you, and it's been done very strategically. Our development team has taken a lot of effort to create the product. We first spent like almost 2 years in development to get the perfect product, because we were like samples came back and forth, and we only agreed with the sample when we were very happy with it, that yes, this is now a product that we genuinely like and we think has a lot of potential. That's when we let it go for stability testing and then observe the product for some time and then went into manufacturing. So Sita basically means consciousness. It's a
Yeah, I was
Sanskrit.
about to ask that question actually. So whether you purposefully kept this name or is there any particular kind of science behind this name actually? Because Sita, when we search in the internet, we get this. It means a consciousness. So whether you want to build a brand based on the consciousness, a brand based,
Yes,
a consciousness brand based brand.
that's basically what it was. So my mother, who is the co-founder of the brand, Monisha Sharma, she is the one who kept the name. And yeah, our idea was that that every parent or every human should be conscious of what we are putting on our body. Like we should be aware of what the ingredient is, which is why we have 100% transparency policy. So any ingredient that we've used, even if it's 0.001%, then also we mention that on the label. Like everything that has gone in the product has been clearly mentioned on our label. So we don't hide anything. We want the customer to know and to understand what they are putting. That's very important, because sometimes some ingredients can have certain side effects or can have reactions, and we don't want especially babies to go through that.
Yeah.
So that was the idea behind the name.
Wow. Okay, that's very inspired to know actually. So now you're coming from entrepreneurial family background because all your parents and grandparents are into some sort of business. And I think if you can share some perspective on that, actually, what's your family and what kind of business your parents and grandparents have? And also, in addition to that, what made you to start your own venture? You could have easily joined your parents'
Yeah.
company, but instead of that, you started your own venture. If you can throw some light on that, that will be interesting.
Sure. So basically, my family has, like you said, always been a business family. So we started initially with education. So it's called the Lexicon Group. We have the Lexicon Group of Institutes, which is our education vertical. So we had started first with the high school. So we have three of them across Pune. We have preschools, then we've added Management Institute, and now very recently we've also started a Hotel Management Institute.
Oh.
Yeah, and from education, we have now also diversified into other fields. So we've just recently got into media. We took over Pune Times Mirror from the Times of India group, and we started our own Marathi tabloid, which is called Civic Mirror, which is the first Marathi tabloid paper of India. And we're exploring media more. We over the past few years, because the lockdown was there, we got time to reevaluate. So we diversified into other fields as well. We've got into fitness and healthcare. We've taken over a chain called MultiFit, which is a chain of gyms, which are 40 gyms in India and two of them abroad. And we've also started our venture called EduCrack, which is basically a test prep platform, like an online test prep platform. Yeah, so like for JEE training or for, I'm not aware, but they have a lot of various online tests that we have. So they do online coaching for that. We also have this very interesting legal aggregator platform called Rest the Case. So basically, the way Practico works for a doctor, it's where a client can go and meet a doctor. This works like that for a lawyer. So if I want a lawyer, I can log on to Rest the Case and then find a particular type of lawyer, whether I want like a maybe a divorce lawyer, criminal lawyer, depending on that, and they match me to that. So we just started that. And aside from that, we also have the STEM kit company called Thinker Place, which makes basically STEM toys for children. So it's combined like education and fun. And rest it our venture CG. So we started with baby care, and now we want to also eventually diversify into women's and men's, hopefully down the line.
Wow. Okay. So totally a diversified group of business you want to have actually. So that's wonderful to know. Whether from the childhood, I just want to know whether you are an entrepreneurial, like a pro entrepreneur, or what kind of growth you had, like from the childhood, if you observe yourself. Because born in a family where their entire family members are into business, generally we observe that the first generation business will be transferred to second generation. So from your perspective, whether it was the same or it was different actually.
I'm sorry, I missed a little part of it because of the time lag.
Yeah, okay. So, see, you are from an entrepreneurial background person, right? Because your parents, both of your parents are into business. So, from your childhood, whether you're also a pro entrepreneur person, because most of the family business family, we see that business will be transferred from first generation to second generation after some time. So that depend upon whether the kid or the child is a pro entrepreneurial or not. So I just wanted to know your perspective, whether you are also a pro entrepreneur person from your childhood.
Uh, so I think actually since I've been of that age where you can understand things, my family has been running their own business. So actually, even before I was born, so I've never seen anything but that. Like, so I've never been exposed to like I've held a job, like I've held internships and everything, but I've never known anything but business. So that has been like even our family discussions when we sit at home for dinner, everything ultimately comes back to that because every member of our family is involved in the business in some way or the other. So when you sit together, ultimately you end up talking about that. So it's always like we've been taught like a business is in your blood, basically, type of thing. So
Okay.
it's always been very comfortable with the idea. In college, also, I was very sure I wanted to have my own business. I just wasn't sure what particular type of vertical I wanted to get into. But because my mother studied cosmetics, it was her dream to always have her own line one day. And then when a few things happened, we realized that the baby care segment in India could do with like a few good quality products. That's when we went into Sita.
Wow, that's quite interesting. Okay, now let's talk about the Sita world. As I think in the initial discussion, you were talking about the present millennial parents are more concerned about the baby care product. How did you find about this gap in the market? Because when we see the market, there are multi players in the market, say national level players and international level player, offering different types of products and its categories actually. How did you find the gap here, and how did you come out with a product actually?
So there was like one basically turning factor, which was when I was studying in the US, and there
Mm.
was a case going on there with a very famous baby care company. They were
Mm.
having issues with their baby powder, which is now happening in India also, right? And when that happened there almost 2 to 3 years ago, and so I was reading the news there, and I had come home for a break, and I was discussing that with my mother, and it was found that after using that baby powder, apparently
Mm.
people have got cancer.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, so that's when that was sort of like a light in my brain sort of went off, that if we are using a product on a child, that needs to be extremely safe. We cannot have known like carcinogens in the product. It needs to be vetted very carefully. What are we applying on the child? And the parents
Yeah.
do that now, and it's an absolutely right thing to do. You should definitely be doing that. And that was sort of where we were discussing that instead of using ingredients sometimes that are so complex that people don't understand it, isn't it better to use the ones that our dadi and nani have told us? But
Mm.
again, the question comes in of the convenience. So that's why we sat and thought about the amalgamation of that is not something that
Mm.
we've seen a lot in the market. That's when we started
Mm.
doing our research, and there wasn't so much of a like either the companies were extremely towards Ayurveda, or they were
Yeah.
completely towards like um, known chemicals that we use. So we wanted to
Mm.
find middle ground because uh, yes, natural ingredients are very good, but a lot of people also have confusion about natural ingredients, assuming that that they are not harmful, whereas the
Mm.
dosage of natural ingredients also needs to be very carefully monitored because they are also
Mm.
very potent, as are chemical products. So it needs to be
Mm.
a very fine line between the two of them, and
Mm.
that's what we then started working on. That's what we started creating.
Okay. Uh, I think, yeah, you mentioned about something about like you're seeing there was availability of Ayurvedic product and other product. Now, my question is, when you say yours is a natural product, what is the difference between natural product and Ayurvedic product? How do you differentiate the ingredients here?
Right. So there's actually a lot of confusion for most
Yeah.
people in the market. What is a natural
Mm.
product and an Ayurvedic product? So Ayurveda is basically a science that has been used in India for many years, India and the Indian subcontinent in general, actually. And there's a very particular way of making products that are used in Ayurveda, which is why you'll hear of certain terms and certain names of oils, because that has been made in that prescribed way. So you cannot deviate from that. That is Ayurveda. Natural, whereas means that the source from where you're getting the product is a natural, product. It's not
Mm.
manufactured synthetically or is not.
Okay.
So that is the basic difference between the two of them.
So I think, if I'm not wrong, it is basically the product which are available at in your house, maybe some herbals or coconut, all those things which are naturally available. That's what you mean to say?
Yeah, so basically, like suppose, like you're deriving it from a very natural source. You're not making
Mm.
it in a factory or something like that. It's an actual ingredient that you have incorporated. That is a natural. So even Ayurveda uses natural ingredients. That's also
Yeah.
possible. But
Yeah.
Ayurveda basically is the method also of making things. That is Ayurveda more than anything else. Whereas natural can mean your source.
Okay, that's quite interesting. So in suppose now in the discussion we were talking about say the millennial parents are also going towards the natural products and all. But if you observe maybe a decade ago or 5 years back, the market was not into this say Ayurveda or natural product because most of the customers or market were totally depending upon this multinational because of the brand consciousness what they have. So whenever we get a product from, say, multinational company, we and as a consumer, we tend to believe that it is one of the higher quality or the best quality product. But over a period of time, we observe that people slowly started moving towards, say, natural product or Ayurvedic product. So, what is your take on this? Actually, are we really moving towards that, or is just a kind of trend or short-term trend?
I hope it's not a trend because it gives a chance to a lot of companies to come and show people what they can do, you know.
Yeah.
So earlier on, of course, there was the trend where we would, you know, go for a known MNC. But I'm very happy to see that in the past few years, there have been so many Indian companies that are creating products for babies or for, you know, your my skincare, and they're doing a very good job of using very good quality ingredients. They're using practices that we've used before. So it's very interesting to see that, you know, that they are doing something specifically for Indian skin, which was not really prevalent before. So
Yeah.
that's the thing, like your skin is different in every part of the world. It's affected by what you eat, it's affected by our genetics, it's affected by our environment also. So it's so much better to have something that is catering to me specifically or to my baby specifically. So actually it's really nice to see that there's so many smaller players who are coming in, because also everyone has a different, you know, brand identity, has a different sort of brand ideology also.
Mm.
And it's very interesting to see them. Like everyone has a different belief. So you should just
Yeah.
join the belief that, you know, resonates with you the most.
Mm. Quite
Whereas earlier
interesting.
we didn't even have that option, you know.
Yeah, yeah, true, true. So in if you observe the price issue, because naturally when we talk about natural products or organic product, at this moment of time it is charged like a little premium. So are we going towards premiumization of this natural product? Because when I observe your product also, it is in a little higher end because middle class family, I mean a lower middle class family may not be able to afford that product. So are we going for a premiumization of this baby care product? What is your view on that?
So we have, of course, used natural ingredients. That is one of the reasons why it's premium. But another reason is also that we have multiple actives. So actives are the ingredients in the product that are to such a extent that they are performing in the product. So, you know, if you like, a lot of people may prefer to buy a product which doesn't cost so much, they can always look for alternatives that have lower number of actives. But looking for a natural product, or you know, that is a good ideology to maintain, I think, you know, because that gives us some sort of control as a consumer over at least where our product source is from.
Mm.
That is, it's coming from nature, so it can't harm you so much. That is an ideology that we tend to have about natural products, which is, I think, a right path, and I think that is something we can continue with. But yes, there is a premiumization to it, because of course it is being derived from a particular source. So like, we tend to work with vendors that we know are very good in the market, because we don't want to, you know, buy products from vendors that could, you know, eventually cause some harm in our products. So we try to, like, all our raw material sources from the top, you know, we source it from the top vendors.
Okay.
We also have used ingredients that are very different. Like some of our supporting ingredients are also natural, which are more expensive. You know, if you go for the natural alternative, that tends to be more expensive than a synthetic one that is more generally available.
Mm.
So that was a conscious decision we had to take, that, you know,
Mm.
yes, your cost of making the product will go higher if you go down this path. But we also believe that, you know, giving the child a good product which is of higher quality, you know, it's something that they may use for like 4 to 5 years continuously. So it needs to be something that if it's not like seeping into their body, it shouldn't be harming them.
Mm.
So that was the ideology. So yes, it is premium. That is something. If you want a higher quality ingredient,
Yeah.
you unfortunately you have to pay the price for
Yeah.
that.
So, marketing philosophy, so no issues. So, yeah, there was kind of controversy recently. Maybe it's an opportunity for young players like you. So, Johnson and Johnson, they spoke about like they announced that they are going to discontinue their talcum powder. So, how do you see this one now? Being a big giant in that particular segment, and they are discontinuing one of the popular product which has served the market for a long time. Do you see that as an opportunity, or do you see like you that you should be cautious now because people are rejecting that product, and you should be more conscious towards developing such product? So, what is your view?
So yeah, it is a very well-known product. It was used on me also. But I
Oh,
think, if my mom knew then what they know now, then obviously she
mm,
also wouldn't have used it on me. Because like I mentioned before, like that was a turning factor for me also, which made me decide to get into baby care, was that we cannot put something on children that's going to harm them long term, like give them a terminal illness. That is a very scary thing to think about. So uh, I don't think that we may be able to cater to all of the customers who Johnson tend to have before, because there is a definite difference in our price and their price. That is there for sure. But I think that we've gone for an alternative. We've gone to the length to make a product that we purposely negated talc, because we knew talc is basically the ingredient that caused an issue in their powder as well. It happened because it contains asbestos, which is a known carcinogen. So that was what the issue was. So if we had gone to the efforts, to make a powder which doesn't contain talc, we've used natural alternatives that are better for people. Like it's basically almost food grade. Like we even our preservatives used in that are something that if it goes by mistake in the child's mouth also, there's nothing you have to worry about as a parent. So
okay.
we've consciously taken the decision to do that. And yeah, it's sad, I mean, for them. But we do have to, as a baby care brand, we have a certain responsibility on us. And every player who's in this market has that responsibility, not just us or Johnson. Every player who's here has that responsibility, that we, at least for children, we try to give the very best that we can.
Mm, that's quite interesting perspective. Okay, when I went to the website and I was going through a couple of review also in Amazon and all, some of the reviews, yeah, most of the reviews are like very good. They're given a positive review. Some of the reviews they were talking about like the product being used by themselves itself, like they applied the product and when I say like they're all the parents actually, mothers, mother and all. So whether now the question is whether this product, your baby care product basically, is it only for the babies or mothers also, or anyone, adults, anyone can use it?
So there's nothing, of course, that stops us from using a baby product. The only difference in it is that as adults, we tend to prefer products that have like a stronger fragrance to it, because we tend to
Mm,
like those. The only difference is that in our baby products we have a very very mild fragrance, and the fragrance
mm,
is also like it's hypoallergenic, so it doesn't
yeah.
cause any issue to children, and it's very
Mm,
mild. So a lot of people may not like that. It is specifically, of course, designed for a child's skin, because their skin is more sensitive. Like we have this product called a baby balm, which is basically, I'm guessing that's the one you read it about. That
yes,
is
yes,
also
exactly.
bestseller. That's like our hero product. So
Wow,
that is some
okay.
yeah, that is something that even doctors are prescribing in Pune city.
Mm,
That is something that moms are using as well, and babies are of course using it also. So it's a different product. It's not there in the market presently. It's the first of its
mm.
kind in India. So it has a
Oh,
different
okay.
texture altogether. Yeah, it's not like a cream or a lotion. It's like a balm, basically is what we call it, like a baby balm. And
Oh,
so that is something like we got one of our reviews, that a mother was saying that because she's with her baby all day long, she has a smaller kid. So because they are in the, like, especially the summer now, it was really hot. So she said that, I was in the AC room the whole time. So because of that, my skin was also very dry, my baby's skin was also very dry. So I was using the balm on the baby. So because mine got so dry with the baby, I was with the baby all day. So I thought, so I'll also try it. So I liked it so much that it's working on me.
okay. So it's a multi-purpose or
Proud of my grandfather
multi-customer
is the baby.
product actually. Okay, quite
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, so now coming back to the business point of view, whether you are into D2C segment or like where are the products are available? Can customer purchase your product using online media or it is available in the retail also?
So currently, it's available in retail only in Pune city in specific stores. Online, it is available on our website, of course, but we are also available on Amazon, on FirstCry, Flipkart, and there are a few other niche parenting websites also like Mom Store or Kind Life. We're available on those as well. And because we tend to work with doctors in Pune city, we're also available on Tata 1mg, Pan India.
Oh, it's pan India. Okay, that's quite interesting. Uh, Now the question is, most of the brands, the new brand, what I can say, they're all going online or say digital during this pandemic time. So you also went, like I think you started your Sita World, I think in 2020, I guess, or in
Yeah.
2019. You also went online because of the pandemic, or you already planned that okay, my product should be online first, then go for offline. What was your view?
It was more of course, we didn't have the opportunity to go offline then because of the pandemic that was there.
Yeah.
It was also a decision that we took that I want to start first with, online and then go offline because going offline is a whole other thing, you have to set up your distribution channel, you have to meet multiple vendors, and vis-a-vis doing it online, it has a few lesser barriers. So we that's why I started with online first, and now we are working our way to retail. So that's why we are present only in Pune now, but we also want to expand to other cities in India.
Okay. Whether Mama Earth and say there are many product or companies or brands which starts with the Mama that word actually. Whether they are the competitors or they are the collaborators for you.
Um, I think a little bit of both, right? Like, of course, a lot of them are paving the way for us, so that's a
Yeah.
good thing. That
Mm.
helps, of course. But yes, it ultimately, hopefully, it'll become competition.
Mm. Because now the world is moving towards a co-creation because every brand and everyone in the society are coming together and supporting each other. So it's not that okay, one brand is growing, so I need to go and kill that so that then only my brand will grow. No, that is not the case. So most of the brands are coming together and supporting each other. So just wanted to know your perspective on that. Any tie-up you have with any other brand to push your product or vice versa?
No. So we
No.
try to support ourselves.
Mhm.
We are trying to be a wholesome brand.
Okay. Oh.
We are working with a lot of doctors, like I mentioned in Pune. So
Mm.
most of the top pediatrics in Pune we are already working with. And
Mm.
because we got really good feedback from them, so that pushed us forward a little more. So that was a good factor. And other than that, no, we are trying to be a little self-sufficient. So
That's quite interesting.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it's like 3 years now. You started Sita World. It's 3 year old.
Yeah, about 3 years old.
Yeah. Okay. So what is the vision? What is the vision of Sita World? And where do you see Sita World maybe by 2030?
2030, then 2022, almost 23 now.
Yeah.
I hope that we'll be catering to not just babies by then. We'll be catering to women and to men also by then. I hope, and I hope we've added a few more verticals by then.
Okay.
Because I actually studied fashion design, so
Yeah.
I hope one day down the line, I hope I can go back to that. I'm not sure if it will happen or not, but if it does, that will be very, very fun for me.
No, this is a kind of a very rare combination. Person who has studied fashion designing, venturing into say differently, like complete different product, which is into healthcare. The family background is into education, so it's a kind of deadly combination for me actually.
Kind of a mess, actually, but it's fun.
But I think you're going with the flow. Like wherever the opportunity you're seeing, you're able to grab that opportunity and making use of it. Actually, that's a true spirit of an entrepreneur. Actually.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. Coming to an end of this podcast, what is your 3 points? I want you to share 3 points for young entrepreneurs who are just started or who are about to start. So, what is your 3 points that they should focus?
Okay. So one thing that I learned the hard way was, plan in advance. So understand, if you're making a particular product, understand how you want to place it and how you want to market it beforehand, and get working on that beforehand, so that it's not like when your product comes, then you're figuring it out. All it'll be there. A little bit of that will be there, because even if you plan it like perfectly, it's still not going to go the way you imagined.
Yeah.
It's always going to be a struggle eventually. But try and think of whatever you can in the beginning. That would be the first thing. The second thing would probably be to build your core team. That is the most important thing. If you don't have good people associated with you who think like you, who support the company and who feel for the company like you do, it's going to be a very difficult journey alone. You need people. So you should invest in people as much as you invest in the product. And the third thing is something that I really believe in, is that I reject the term failure. I don't believe that that is a, yeah, just keep trying. If it doesn't work out one way, stop that and try another way. Just as long as you're not giving up, failure just doesn't exist.
Wow. So that's wonderful. So one is first one is hard work. The second one is build a strong team with the like-minded people and never stop. Third one is never stop. So that's really wonderful to know actually. So thank you, Akanksha Sharma sir, for sharing your view on Sita World and the growth of Sita World, and also your perspective on the market actually. I really thank you for spending your valuable time with us. I wish you all the very best for your journey. Thank
Thank you so much. It was so nice talking to you.
you. Same here. Thank you. Hello, viewers. How was the interview? As a host, I really enjoyed discussing with Akanksha Sharma. I really appreciate her entrepreneurial spirit and also the way she's approaching the market. And I really like the three lessons or the tips for young entrepreneur what she shared at the end of the video. I hope you also do the same thing. So if you like this video, please click the like button and also please share your feedback in the comment section. And also please share this video in your network so that we can reach more people through your love and support. Again, thank you. Namaste.